Hello again. As you may or may not know, I am Eli the Computer Guy, and INE has invited me down here to their Durham, North Carolina office to interview many of the technology and IT professionals in the area. I'm with Gabe Rivas, the Managed Service Center Engineer at EPlus Inc.
That's right.
Yep. So tell me a little bit about what is a Managed Service Center Engineer at EPlus?
So what I do is I take, well, as a company, what we do is we support customers from various areas of the industry, and we are sort of like an extension of their IT staff. So what we do is we do all kinds of implementation, changing, adding, removing devices, upgrading, as well as troubleshooting, of course. So they would open a ticket with us, we jump into their network, we have direct access to their devices that we manage, and we do our thing.
Okay. So you were, like, on your resume, says you're like a weekend supervisor at, I guess, TD Bank?
Yes, that was actually many years ago.
That was many years ago, okay. So how do you go from TD Bank into IT and technology?
So at TD Bank, basically that was like my student job, right?
Okay.
I was going through school and I just needed a job, although it was fun, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So once I was ready, I made my move, left the bank, and jumped into the IT area, which is what I've been ever since.
Oh, okay. So then you were going for your bachelor's of computer science degree at the time.
Right.
Yeah. So you knew you wanted to do computer science.
I knew ever since probably I was in high school.
Yeah.
Yes.
What made you interested in it? Was there anything in particular?
An operating system called Linux.
Really?
Yes. Back in the day when making a printer work was such a success, those days when Linux wasn't that easy to use anyways. And I think the challenge of making things work just made me want to explore more and more, and that's what kept me going.
Oh, okay. So you got your bachelor's degree at ECPI University?
Yes.
So where is that at?
It's based out of Virginia Beach.
Okay.
I went to the campus in Northern Virginia, Manassas.
Okay. Yeah.
They do have a campus here in Raleigh as well.
Huh.
So,
what was the decision to go to that particular school?
When I went to the school, I interviewed with a few people, and I thought it was very hands-on, and I think it had the kind of environment that I needed, fast-paced, and just make me ready for the field as quickly as possible.
Oh, okay. Do you feel you got your money's worth out of it? Did it feel,
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely.
You would suggest it again?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So then, so you're doing the TD thing, and then you graduate college, and then you go over, and so you're a co-op student worker at Cisco. So were you doing that during college or afterwards?
Yes, actually that was during my last year, and that's when I left the bank.
Okay.
So I had this opportunity to co-op at Cisco. This was in Herndon, Virginia.
Okay, yeah.
And up to that point, I actually had never taken any Cisco classes whatsoever. And Cisco to me was just this mystical name that I didn't know what it was really.
Yeah.
But once I started my internship there, I thought it was the coolest area that I could be in. I knew this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience to me. I think that internship was what opened the door to me in the field, because right after that I was able to land a permanent position at Cisco itself, and from there it was just taking off.
That's cool. So how do you get a co-op? You're the first person that's talked about a co-op student worker position. Like how did you get that? How did you find out about it?
Cisco should have a list of schools that they work with. So at ECPI, I remember we had a department that took care of internships and setting you up with various companies.
Yeah.
So that's all they do, and they would post the positions available, either internship or actual jobs.
Yeah.
And I just had the chance to go for an interview. I had actually just taken my CCNA test back then, and I think that really helped as well.
Okay.
And they liked me, and I was a co-op within, I think, 1 month of the interview.
Really? So when you're doing the co-op, do you actually get do you get to really do anything, or are you just going around getting coffee for the people?
Not at all.
Stuff?
That was a very hands-on experience.
Okay.
I got to apply all my CCNA paper cert, right? Because all I used was Packet Tracer and some software, right? So, but the internship or the co-op position was where I had access to a data center with all kinds of equipment. I got to cable, rack and rack equipment because I kept upgrading and changing things around. I learned a great deal. I actually got out of there with the CCNP and the CCNA Security. So to me, it was the perfect timing and the perfect place to develop myself.
That's interesting. Did they help pay for that, or did they help you with those?
Yes.
Really, even
very
as a co-op?
supportive. Yes, absolutely. Not only the engineers in helping me study, but also my manager making sure I had the resources and also paying for the certs.
Oh, okay. So then you go from there, and you're doing the co-op thing, and then you actually go. You're a network consulting engineer for Cisco, then.
Right.
So was that a pretty easy jump? Did they come to you, or did you have to apply?
I had to apply.
Okay.
Yes. Obviously, as I was there, because the way I thought, since I was during my last year at school, anyways, and the co-op term was for a year, I needed to think what was next. And I talked to my manager and other people around to find out about opportunities internally, and they advertised to me, we have this program, and that was called the Associate Network Consulting Engineer program, which is the one that I was interested in, because they offer me other ones that were pre-sale kind of programs as well. And I applied. I actually came here to RTP to interview. The process took about 4-5 months, but I did it well in advance so that I had the time to transition from being a co-op to being a full-time employee.
Okay. So you actually had to come here, because you're up in Virginia, which is 4 hours away?
4 hours, yes.
Yeah, so you actually had to drive down here to do the interviews.
They actually, they flew me here. They pay for everything. We stayed in a hotel and did the interview, because the interview was a full day interview. So we had to come here for a whole day and then fly back.
What was the interview like?
The interview was nothing like I ever did before. It was like I said, it was a full day interview that included technical and non-technical interviewers. Not one person. It was a group of people for maybe checking on your team working skills, and then 3 engineers for the technical skills, and then HR, and then some managers. So we had different kinds of scenarios in the interview. It was very challenging.
Is there any lessons learned from that? Is there something you did well, or something you wish you could don't do that?
Sure. After that, I definitely went back and started thinking how I did, and I think I'm still doing it now. It's when you're talking and you pause and you gotta use these filler words that doesn't make it sound too professional. And I've always thought that is one area that you always have to work on improving, learning how to talk fluently without sounding every second.
So it does say, so you're fluent in Portuguese, you're native in Portuguese.
Yes.
And Spanish.
Yes.
So where are you from originally?
I am from Bolivia originally.
Bolivia, okay.
Yes. But my mom, she lived in Brazil for over 15 years, and obviously my Portuguese came from that. So I learned it naturally. I didn't study Portuguese.
So how do you go from Bolivia to Portugal to Brazil to United States then, to Virginia?
It's all about my mother.
It's all about your mother, okay.
Yes, she's been moving from country to country, and she came here in 2001.
Okay.
And shortly after I came here in 2004.
Oh, okay. So do you have any issues with visas and that kind of stuff?
No, I came here as a resident, and I've been a U.S. citizen now for maybe 6 years now.
Oh, really?
So that stuff is taken care of now.
So how hard is it, being a non-native English speaker, to especially to do technical work? Have you gone to classes? Do you go to the local bar every night? How do you learn English well enough?
I wish there would have been an IT bar where I can go and learn that stuff, right? When I came, I actually went through the community college in Manassas to learn English. So they have programs for English as a second language is what they call it.
Yeah.
It took me about maybe 2.5 years to go through the entire program. It's a time that you have to invest. I figured that coming to a country where the language is different than my own, if I really needed to succeed, I needed to speak the language. So spending that time was well worth time spent. I think it's the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
So that's how you do it.
That's right. So, I mean, especially since you know Spanish as a native speaker, do you actually use that then professionally? Because a lot of people, that's the thing with so many of people from Latin America coming. I mean, there's a lot of people that just speak Spanish. So has that actually come up for you professionally? Has that been a benefit for you?
In the IT world, very few times. Actually, Portuguese I've had the chance to work more than Spanish.
Really?
With EPlus, we have a couple of customers that have offices in Brazil, and I needed to talk to them, or other coworkers needed to talk to them, and I had to make the phone call.
Yeah.
Spanish, as popular as it is here, I haven't really had a chance to work with customers from South America or Central America where the language is Spanish.
Yeah.
I do have a friend though who works at Cisco, and his accounts are all over Latin America, and he's using it all the time, but I haven't run into that.
Oh, that's cool. Now, would you ever think about going, I mean, because I talk about like with the BRICS countries in Brazil, I mean, in technology, one of the ways to be successful is be someplace that's growing.
Sure.
And so they talk about the Brazilian economy is growing, infrastructure is getting built out, all that. Would you ever think about going to Brazil again and actually trying to do your career there?
I never really thought about it because I think I am already established here. So moving from a different country, it's a big step. And even though I didn't experience that when I was responsible for myself like I am now. I remember my mom and all the struggles she went through making that big move, and I don't really think right now that I would go back unless something really bad happened here, and then it's just a matter of looking for opportunities. Then I think I would go.
Yeah. Okay. So then going over to EPlus, what made you interested in going over there?
Well, first of all, they are a gold partner with Cisco, and I think that's a good value in an employer. In terms of having access still to Cisco software and Cisco resources, they have the Cisco partner labs and things like that I can still use to develop myself. So that as a perk per se, as an add-on, I think it's a good value.
Yeah, okay. And then it also says, so you're also an instructor at Wake Technical Community College?
Yes, yes. I actually started that, this is my second semester. I started last year.
Okay.
Yes.
So do you do like full credit hour classes or?
Yes. Okay. I started, Wake Tech is a Net Academy school.
Okay.
So they deliver the CCNA, route switch, security, CCNP, and things like that through the Net Academy. And I started teaching the route switch CCNA and security. Currently, I am taking the exams to teach the CCNP curriculum as well.
Oh, okay. So you can teach even though you don't have like a master's degree, since you have those certifications, you can teach there?
With bachelor's, it's the minimum qualification that they ask. Since it's a community college, I guess that's the minimum.
Oh, well, interesting. So there's another, I had the idea like if you had the CCNP, you could teach the CCNP, but you're saying there's some kind of other certification you have to have in order to teach it?
Yes, you have to have the CCNA, CCNP, and all of that, but on top of that, you also have to go through the Net Academy. I can't remember what they call it, but it's like an entity that they assign to different schools so that they have the authority to make you a Net Academy instructor, but you have to take those tests again and score a minimum so that you can prove that you can teach, and that's what I'm going through now. So it's not taking the actual cert that go, it's just the Net Academy tests to teach.
Oh, okay. So do you plan to continue teaching? Do you like doing that?
I enjoy doing that. I enjoy doing that. And yes, I plan on doing it. That's why I keep taking more tests so that I can expand my classes into the CCNP curriculum.
Yeah. So I guess then, going into the future, so you have your bachelor's degree and you have a couple of certifications, CCNP and such. Would you go for your master's degree? Like, what do you think is better, going for your master's degree, going for your CCIE?
It's a good question. Being in the private sector, so far, I think they would value more going for CCIE than masters. I'm not saying don't do masters to anyone, of course.
Yeah.
But until I feel that there is demand for doing the master, I don't think I'm looking into that.
No, really. So you are, though. You're trying for your CCIE. How long do you figure?
I actually was a CCIE candidate for some time in the past. I took classes and everything.
Yeah.
But I haven't. I attempted 3 times, couldn't do it.
Yeah, okay,
So I'm putting that aside for some time. I want to learn other things.
Yeah.
So I can contribute more to my company, and once I have those under my belt, I'll go back and retry. But definitely I want to achieve it.
So for being in your position, because being around, Cisco is here, so everybody's got to say CCIE.
Yes.
But do you think that is the most valuable certification? Like there's MCSEs, there's VMware certification, there's Citrix certification,
Sure.
there's all these kind of stuff.
All the certs have their place, and where I work, I know that the CCIE would be the most valuable just because they are partners and they get credits and they get discounts and they get all kinds of benefits from Cisco, so they would value their employees to have CCIEs. I don't know of other companies, say VMware or Microsoft, if they do that with their partners, because we are also Microsoft and VMware partners and whatnot. But I don't know if the value is the same or the benefit as a partner to have you be an MCSE and such. I don't know if that would give you a kind of value like CCIE does.
Ah, interesting. So since you came here from Virginia, are you the type of person, do you plan to stay here forever? Is this like a great place, or would you go to Silicon Valley if you could?
I fell in love with Raleigh, to be honest.
Really?
I had the chance to go back. My mom lives in Virginia still. And when I finished, because initially I came here for 6 months just for training, and then after that we were supposed to be relocated, however Cisco needed that, but I still had the chance to go back to Virginia, and I chose not to because I think I love Raleigh, to be honest.
You love Raleigh?
Yes,
really?
I love Raleigh.
What about it do you like so much?
It's the people. People are so friendly here. The traffic is nothing compared like Virginia and Maryland. I'm pretty sure you know about that. People are very easy to get along with here. It's just the environment. I can't explain it, but the environment is much more. It feels like home, like my original home. It's just that welcoming, warm environment that I like.
Is there any parting thoughts to the world? Anything you would have done differently with your career so far? Any advice you can give?
Well, if you have the chance to dedicate full time to study, definitely do that, because I had to work and study. That was very tough. But other than that, I mean, invest the time that you need to, invest the money that you need to. It's worth it for sure.
Good. Well, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, so this was Gabe Rivas, Managed Service Center Engineer at EPlus Inc. I enjoyed doing this interview, trying to show you guys the real world of technology. As always, I enjoyed doing this and look forward to seeing you at the next one.